Hi everyone, if you're here for the first time, this is my first ever YouTube live, and I'm actually going to be starting this in a few seconds. We're just going to give people some time to join, and I'm going to send out a quick message to my meetup, so give me 1 second. Okay. Almost done. I'll be with you guys in a second. Cool. Right, we'll get started. Perfect. My name is Michael Tabaradi. I'm a business and leadership consultant, and I really help savvy service-based entrepreneurs actually get started with their business. Now, why do I like doing this? Well, really and truly, it's because I feel like business is one of the best ways to express yourselves and really sort of make a real sort of impact towards the communities that are in your circle. Now, I started out in business back in 2014, trying out many different things. I tried out property investing, I tried out network marketing, I tried out trading, I tried out all these different things. And I realized that I really wanted to focus and pursue something that was more aligned to me and that I was able to control. And the best way to do that, in my opinion, is to use your expertise and to use your experience in order to do this. So really and truly, everything I teach is around helping coaches, consultants, service-based entrepreneurs, anyone who feels like they have an expertise, really get their message out there and actually attract the right sort of audience as well. Because at the end of the day, you may have friends and family, but they're not always there to help you. So that's a little bit about me. Now, I'm going to be using my phone for some notes because I'll be honest with you, my preparation was a bit poor, but I've been doing this stuff for a long time. So I'm just going to dive into it. So the first thing is, what do you need to do when you're first starting out a business? Well, the first thing I would say that you need to do is to really understand what you're about and do a self-diagnosis. Okay, so once you do that self-diagnosis, it's about understanding what it is you're good at, what it is you're not good at, what it is that you want to focus on. So what skills, what experience, and what expertise do you have? Because those things are going to be strong in shaping how you think. So for example, I have about 9 years experience working in a national health service. For those of you in the UK, that's the NHS. And that experience is tailored around commissioning, project management, all of this contracting stuff, and everything around sort of like developing services and making sure performance management is met. So my expertise is really blue thinking, process driven, really thinking about how to solve problems and get into the next step. So utilizing that, I have to also think about things that I may be interested in or passionate about, or problems that I actually want to solve. So if you think about those things, really carefully, you'll come up with a list. So I'd say write down a list, and this is for those who haven't started. Write down a list of different things, and then you'll have something to choose from. Because once you do that, what you can do is do some market research to see if this stuff is popular. So let's say, for example, you wanted to be a business coach, okay? Business coach helping mums actually start their own sort of business at home. Then you'd have to see online or just within your circles to see if that's something that's viable. If people are like, yeah, I really want to start that. Or if it's like, I'm not really too sure about it. So that's what I would say. Now, before I would start any sort of business, you have to think about the sacrifices that you have to make. And really and truly, the only sacrifices you're going to make is either going to be with time or money, or essentially both, really and truly. Because if you want to start a business successfully, in my opinion, you need money. You need to start with some sort of capital. You need some sort of capital investment, or initial investment, should I say. And then you need maintenance money or marketing money, or money to basically keep the business going. If you're bootstrapping, you need to think about what your finances are saying. So let's say, for example, you earn £2,000 every single month, and let's say £1,500 goes on bills and everything else, and you're spending. You could potentially use that £500 if you're not using it for anything else, on marketing, building your business, and everything else. So that's quite useful. But if you're making £2,000 and you spend £1,900, you only have £100 left, that may not be enough to actually get started with your business from a sort of financial point of view. But saying that, you know, there is also the time sort of like perspective. So you need to be able to put in the right sort of effort in order to make sure you start your business. And that requires more guerrilla marketing sort of tactics. So think about what you need to do. And I'm going to talk about how you can sort of understand how you know how much money you need to put into it. So once we've decided what we like, what we don't like, what our skills are, how much money we have to invest, X, Y, and Z, we need to do some market research, okay? And we need to do some market research into the field that we're going to get into. Now, the sort of research that I would actually do is start focusing on what your competitors are doing. And I don't like using the words competitors, but what I'm really saying is, what are people who are already doing the thing that you want to try out doing already, okay? So the best way to do this is to check out their website, okay? Because the website is basically the sort of like base of everything that they do. They'll have their social media, it'll have their services, or have their landing pages, or have most things connected to that brand or to that business. So I'd strategically create some sort of table and write down what their website is, what social media sort of channels they have, what different blog posts they have, what services they offer, what products they offer, and all these different things, even writing down the prices. Because once you can get to that point of knowing that stuff of your competitors and doing, let's say, anywhere between 10 to 50 different competitors, then you're at a point where you truly understand what people are doing in your market, truly understand what people are doing in your industry. So I would definitely carry out that exercise. Now, once you've done that, then you can decide what the gaps are in the market and what you need to focus on, because you need to be able to be cognizant of what people are doing already, because if you don't know that, then you're going to be guessing. So don't guess. So do this all in the table. Write down all these key specific things, their website, their social media channels, their services and products, and everything else that they're offering. Then you can decide what it is that you need to do for yourself. So that's the first thing. The second part to all of this is really understanding the pains and problems of your target audience. And that's a difficult thing, but you'll start to pick up an idea of what this is based on what your competitors are doing already. So how do you find this information? Well, the most obvious way is to ask friends and family, especially if they're sort of people who are involved in that niche. Ask them exactly what it is that they want to overcome, or what's the one thing they would want to know about X. So what's the one thing they would want to know about weight loss? What's the one thing they would want to know about starting a business? What's the one thing they would want to know about developing an app? So ask them those questions. If they're not the most appropriate people, what you can do is go to events and ask people there. So obviously you build rapport, you obviously break ice by saying your name, saying what you do, and just basically seeing if there's some sort of like flavor to exchange words. And then you can ask questions, just say, I'm carrying out a survey and I just wanted to see what your opinion was on X, or what sort of problems are you experiencing with Y? If all of that stuff scares you, then you can use social media, okay? So if you have some sort of a following, you can use stories to ask questions, maybe even give them options, because people like options when it comes to social media. And basically just, sorry, somebody popped up on my screen, so it distracted me. Basically just sort of like pose these questions to them and see what they say, so you can check out the response rate. If you don't want to do that, then you may have to do some hard grafting research. And that research will be based on going onto websites like Quora.com. So what I would do personally is go onto Quora and basically type in the niche that you're looking to explore. So in this instance, it might be digital marketing. I'll type in digital marketing in the search box and press enter. And once I press enter, I will see all the different questions related to digital marketing. And that will give you an idea of what people are asking, because once you can get that idea, then you can start twisting things around and marketing towards them. You can use their language in order to market towards them. So the first thing was do market research specifically on your actual competitors. The second thing was defining what pains and problems that your actual marketplace has. Okay. Now, the third thing I would say is also thinking about the trends, okay? Think about the trends within your marketplace. How is your market affected? Is it affected by people? Is it affected by weather? Is it affected by changes in technology? Is it affected by innovation? Think about all of these things, because it's really important to have this in mind so you know how to pivot and adapt when it comes to that time. Now, honing all this information is quite overwhelming, because it's like, okay, how do I hold all of this stuff? But me personally, what I would do, and some people don't advocate this, but I advocate that you actually develop a business plan, some sort of business plan that you can actually look to, or some sort of guide that can help you move forward. Now, what would be involved in this business plan? It would be an executive summary, okay? So including things like your values, your visions, your missions, your aims, all of that kind of stuff. Then there needs to be something around what the market is saying, so market research or market trends. You also need to include things like operational, because you want to research the process or the funnel or the customer journey as to how people are able to actually get business, and what that looks like from a day-to-day sort of point of view, a week-to-week point of view, a month-to-month point of view, a quarterly point of view. You also want to develop your marketing research. And in addition to that, you want to make sure that you write down things like risks, challenges, also financial investment and capital investment. I've got a question from Michael T. What's the best platform to find trends? That's a very good question. So the best sort of platform to find trends is Google Trends. Google Trends is a fantastic way to do this. And the way you do this is by making sure you understand the market, or what I would say the keyword terms in your market, so you can put that into Google Trends and pick up what trends are popping up. In addition to that, it's also important to study your competitors, to check out the trends and see what they're doing. Read sort of like research papers and periodicals so you can get a better understanding of what it is. You need to go hard, because the more research you do, the more confident you are about what's happening in the landscape, okay? And the other form of sort of like trend analysis is seeing how your competitors react on social media and online, etc., etc. So I've given you sort of like 3 different pillars in terms of making sure that you are so, you are so attuned and understanding of what it is that your audience is aiming to do, okay? So once you've got all of this information, the next step is to educate yourself as much as possible. So this is almost like part 2, okay? Educate yourself as much as possible. And the best way you can educate yourself is to, number 1, listen to podcasts. You've probably heard this before, but listen to podcasts religiously. think strategically about the podcast you want to listen to. So for me, if I'm trying to understand something new, I may check out something like the Side Hustle podcast. If it's to do with sort of like business and stuff, I may check out, other people's podcasts if I want to learn about YouTube marketing and everything else. So really go onto podcasts and understand what these market leaders are actually doing. The second thing is I'd read books. And I'd read books in order to really understand the structure and how things are segmented in order to know the process towards actually achieving a specific business goal. So this may be a specific book for business in general. It may be a specific business book when it comes to marketing. It may be a specific book when it comes to speaking. So I would avidly read as many books as possible when it comes to your actual industry. The third thing is making sure that I go out there and go to different events, because when you go to different events and you speak to different people in your industry, they're going to tell you stuff that you may not have known before. You're practicing what you're learning. So events is so key when it comes to this stuff. And the last crucial thing is practice. Practice, 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 practice everything that you're learning. Because if I'm going on podcasts, if I'm going onto YouTube, if I'm going to different events, I'm writing down notes. I'm organizing this stuff in a process-driven way, because again, that's intellectual property that I can use when it comes to my clientele, my coaches, and everything else. So go through that process of avidly understanding your industry, and then you can go out there and start doing stuff. So how long does this process take? This process could take anywhere between 3 to 6 months, depending on how hard you go. If you want a structure for this, you would basically check out a YouTube video. Let's say you check out 5 YouTube videos every single day for the next 2 months. Then you do the same thing when it comes to podcasts to and from work. When it comes to events, it may be a situation where you actually go to an event at least once every single month. And practicing, that needs to be daily. The way you practice is making sure that you actually ask people within your circle and see, look, I'm actually starting this business now, and I actually think I'm pretty good at helping people lose weight. I've done it myself, and I want to see if I can help you. Obviously, if they're overweight, you don't want to start that way. You want to do some sort of natural conversation. But the point being made is you want to ask people in your circle if they're willing to take up your offer for free or at a low cost, and then you can go forward. Now, Michael T has made a very good point. I would say mentorship is definitely important, okay? It's very important to have a mentor. But I would also say to that is, if you're bootstrapping, because I understand it's difficult for some people, then I would start off with this stuff. But if you can get a mentor, find a mentor, go to the places where this mentor actually hangs out, okay? You may not specifically know who that mentor is, but there's always someone who understands something more than you. They don't necessarily have to be older than you. They just have to be more experienced than you. And they should be able to guide you in a certain way to make you feel confident about what it is that you want to do. Now, depending on different industries, you may actually have to pay for mentorship. Okay, so I know for my industry, it gets expensive. Okay, but if you have to do it, you have to do it. I remember when I first started out in this whole scene, and I spent thousands on different types of mentorship. I spent thousands when it came to property mentorship. I spent thousands when it came to the whole Rich Dad Poor Dad mentorship that they provided for me. I spent thousands when it came to learning how to do public speaking. So the point being made is, if you're willing to put your money where your mouth is, definitely pay for a mentor, because it really does help. But if you can't do that at the moment, then it's going to have to be an information consumption game, okay? And you have to be very good at organizing your information in the best way possible, okay? So I've spoken about market research. That was section 1. I've spoken about section 2, which is education. Let me go into section 3. I'm using my mobile phone to help me here. Section 3, is more about the online, okay? So you've got all of this knowledge, you've got all this information, you've actually helped people, okay? You've practiced all of this stuff. The next step is setting yourself up the right way, okay? So you have to make sure that you have a solid website. Is a website like important for your business? I would argue no, because if you're going out there, you could do cold calls, you could do email outreach, you could do all of those different things. But if you want to sort of like create the right sort of impression, then it's important for you to make sure that you have some sort of website. So before you do any website stuff, number 1, you need to understand the keywords within your industry when it comes to setting up your website. Sorry, I said that a bit weird, so I was laughing to myself. Anyway, point being made is do the keyword research. And how do you do this? Let's say, for example, I wanted to start my own sort of health coaching business, okay, I would actually type in health coaching and see what different words would pop up or auto-populate when it came to Google. So type in health coach and see what would pop up at the end, okay? And you can try this yourself. And it may say health coaching for ladies, health coaching for people overweight, health coaching for ... That will give me an idea of what sort of keywords I need to focus on, okay? Now, in order to help you with this process and generate more keyword ideas, you can use things like Ubersuggest, Google Trends, and something called Keywords Everywhere, which is a Chrome extension to help you discover or find out new keywords. Once I've got these keywords, I would start building my website around those keywords, okay? And if you are building a website, I would definitely make sure that I would use WordPress. I wouldn't use Wix. I wouldn't use Squarespace. I haven't used them before, but my understanding and knowledge tells me, and my experience tells me of 9 years, that WordPress is extremely good when it comes to structuring your website online and for search engine optimization. In other words, helping you be found online, okay? So what's the first things that you need for a website? You need to make sure that you get hosting. You also need to make sure that you have a web domain. So that is your www. Let's say michaeltabaradi.com. And you also need to make sure that you have a CMS. And that CMS, i.e. your content management system, is WordPress. What would I have on my website? I would have my homepage. I would have blog. I would have about us or about me. I would have contact. And I'd also have, let's say, services and products. And I'll make sure my homepage has the keywords or associated keywords to my industry. Now, I'm not going deep into sort of like how you set up a website. You can check out my website and you can see my videos on YouTube when it comes to setting up your own website. But it's very important to make sure you have a website. How do I sort of like make this website look really nice? Get someone who can take really good pictures, get someone who can take really nice videos, and use Canva to really sort of position your graphics in the right way if you can't afford certain things. Because again, like I said, bootstrapping is important. So what's the next step? The next step is making sure that I would start to develop some sort of content, okay? Now, I'm not saying you need to go hard with content at the beginning, but what content does is that it positions you as an expert. I'm doing this content right now, okay? So hopefully I would like to think that you guys are getting value from this. So how would I sort of position this content? Well, what I would do, I would start off with doing YouTube videos. I'd do one YouTube video minimum every single week. Ideally, if you can do more, that's great, but I'll do one a week. How would I do it? I would, let's say, if I decided to do one a week, I'd make sure that I would batch up 4, let's say at the end of the month, edit them and everything else, if that was your style, and make sure I schedule it every single week for that month. Then what you can do, if you want to, is turn that stuff into a podcast or into some sort of article for your website. The point being made is that what this content does is, number one, it serves as pillar content, but 2, you can break it up into micro content for your other stuff, like your social media stuff, your advertising and everything else. Because at the end of the day, people need to see that you are the expert. So that's what I would do, okay? Now, in addition to that, I'd also make sure, if I had sort of like the experience and practice and know-how, I'd make sure that I develop a book, okay? I can't stress this enough. I have my own book. I have my books here. Okay, so this is one example of my book. So Desire, the Cornerstone Between Nothing and Success. And it's very simple to set up if you know how to do it. The reason why I'd actually create a book is because it's the ultimate business card. If you're going to different networking events and you break the ice using your book, it positions you as an author. And people really respect authors in this industry. Again, do you need a book? No, but I'm just talking about things that will help you when it comes to business. And I will get to the nitty-gritty of the marketing. All I am saying is a book will definitely help you. And again, you can have this on your website. You can have this on your social media handles and everything else. So make sure you think about developing a book. Now, once I've done all of this stuff, once I've set up all of these different things to position myself as the expert, then I would start my marketing. Now, there are so many different ways you can market your products and services. So I want to talk about all of them, or as much as possible, so you can get an idea of what you can do. Now, I'm going to talk about traditional ways first, some ways that may make you cringe, but can actually help your business. So the first way, the most cringeworthy way, is cold calling. And whether we want to agree with it or not, cold calling actually does work. It just depends whether you have that experience in it and you have the right sort of scripts in order for you to do the right sort of cold calls. So what I would do is I'd be very strategic. I'd create some sort of database in terms of all the different companies or people that I would want to target, and I would cold call. That's exactly what I would do. If I was doing the same thing with email outreach, I'd create a database again. And if I was, let's say, for example, specifically focusing on businesses, then what I'll do is I'll do some sort of audit or diagnosis of that business and checking things like whether they have ads, whether they have really on point social media channels, whether their website needs improving, all of that kind of stuff. If it was for people, I'll check out different specific things. And then I'll send them an email outreach. Okay, so those are two ways. You can do things like leafleting. You can do things like posters as well. You can put your ads sort of in like newspaper, sort of like periodicals. But again, these are all sort of like very traditional methods. If you want more sort of like ideas in terms of marketing, there's a really good book called Guerilla Marketing, which could be quite useful when it comes to thinking of different ways to market your products and services. Okay. Now coming onto sort of like other techniques, you can do networking. Okay. So actually shaking someone's hand and speaking to someone face to face is a fantastic way in terms of making sure that you can actually build that rapport, because if you build that rapport, you're more likely going to get them on the phone or do business with them because they know, like, and trust you. So I would go to as many places as possible where you can network and build that rapport. Do you have to go specific to your industry sort of events? No, you don't have to. It's about talking to human beings. It's about communicating with human beings and breaking the ice. And how you break the ice is usually with eye contact first and a smile. Okay, practice like giving people eye contact and smiling, and then basically telling them what you do, listening to what they have to do. Because when it comes to networking or connecting, should I say, it's about active listening, and it's about asking effective questions in order to lay them up towards maybe your offer or whatever it is. So going to events is very, very important. If you can't go to events, or there are not many events in your sort of like area, then what you can do is actually start your own events. Thank you very much, Stephanie. It definitely is a brilliant book and has really helped me along my way. Now, you can set up your own events. Now, if you are going to set up your own events, I would say it with a caveat. Don't think too big. Don't think too large. Just think local events and promote it on your social media channels, or maybe using something like meetup.com. Now, if you're quite popular as a person, again, this will go in your advantage. If you want to use sort of like strategies and techniques, what you can do is invite some people for free who are sort of like influencers or micro influencers and get people to those events. Do you charge for these events? Not necessarily. You can bring people in for free, depending on sort of like your marketing budget and what you're willing to do, and just basically have some sort of educational presentation that you can teach them that again positions you as the expert. And then afterwards, you can answer questions and aim to get bookings, okay? Now, it's very important to make sure that you understand that business is done via bookings. You need to get that booking in place in order for you to seal the deal. So that's what I would say about events. Now, one way I suggested before was to use meetup.com. Meetup is a fantastic tool, and it's basically like £15 a month to make sure that Meetup advertises your sort of like event to other people. Now, when it comes to Meetup, you have to make sure that you're not being too spammy or anything like that, because Meetup has this policy where they want to make sure that you're providing value and you're making people have a positive experience, okay? If you don't want to set up your own Meetup, you can go to different meetups. That's what I would do. I would go to as many meetups as possible and network there, and actually speak to the actual event organizers and say, hey, if you're looking for more speakers around productivity or, you know, mindset or personal development, I'll be more than happy to speak. Don't charge for your speaking engagements. Just go out there and speak. Don't even aim to sort of offer anything. If anything, just make sure that they're able to get your website, your social media handle, or something, okay? There always needs to be a call to action. Now, I've spoken about the guerrilla marketing ways. I've spoken about events. Other ways you can do this is going onto sort of like websites that have databases. So for example, Fiverr.com. You can set up a profile on Fiverr if you have a specific or niche skill, and that's one way that you can actually get clients in. Now, the only way you can really sort of like get the glue when it comes to these clientele is to make sure that you have testimonials. And that's why at the beginning in section 2, when I spoke about education, I spoke specifically about practice. You want to make sure that when you are helping people for free, you're getting testimonials. And I'll definitely say, if you can get testimonials, definitely get video testimonials, because that will be the game changer. People like watching video. People are convinced when it comes to video. So definitely check out, definitely make sure that you get video testimonials. If you can't get video testimonials, then what you can do is screenshot, let's say, WhatsApp messages or messages that they sent you on social media or email, in order for you to use that as your way to sort of provide evidence that you know what you're doing. If you can't do that, then the best way to really prove to people that you are the person to go to is to do it for yourself. So again, if I was a digital marketer or business coach, I'd have to show them I know what I'm doing. So for example, can I build my social media following from 500 to 10,000 followers? Can I design beautiful websites that get, let's say, 2,000 to 10,000 hits on that website in terms of traffic? If I was a health coach, can I prove that I have been able to lose weight myself or gain the weight I want in order to, look the way I want to look? So do it for yourself and use yourself as a testimonial if you can't find other people. Now, the main way, or should I say the most effective way that you can actually get clients to your business, is to make sure that you have some sort of advertising. That's the honest truth. You can't even deny that anymore, because I bet you that you've gone to an event either because of Meetup or because of Instagram, okay? Now, why do I say this? Anyone who hosts their own Meetup has Meetup actually sort of like doing advertising for them, and they're paying for that. The same thing with Instagram. Unless someone's posted something up organically, most likely you're gonna see event information based on some sort of Instagram ad. So you need to be at a position where you're using Facebook's sort of like algorithm to actually set up Instagram ads or Facebook ads. Now, if I was setting up an Instagram ad or a Facebook ad, it would definitely be some sort of video ad that shows my sort of expertise. So it's either going to be me speaking, or it's going to be a situation where I've got actual clients who are giving testimonials and showing that, yes, I've went through Michael's program and it was really, really good. So at the end of the day, you need to be at a point where if those other things are not working, make sure that you do Facebook or Instagram ads. Now, if you're not sure how to set up Instagram or Facebook ads, I would say definitely go onto YouTube. Like, there are so many tutorials when it comes to setting up that stuff. And it shouldn't be that difficult. So many people make it seem scary, but at the end of the day, it's not that difficult. I think the scary thing is that most people are scared to spend money. And Stephanie makes a good point. She said, true, most of the events I've been to so far have been sponsored ads on Instagram. That's exactly true, Stephanie. Like, you're not lying there, because at the end of the day, people are fighting for attention, and it's your job to make sure that you cater to those problems and pains that I spoke about before, and actually make sure you get into their face, but in a friendly way. Okay. Now, if I was setting up some sort of like Instagram ads, what I would do is have a really short caption, okay, that sort of like grabs their attention, then sort of like ask a question relating to their pain, and basically saying you can find more here, okay? And then I would have the video ad. And what would it link to? It would link to some sort of landing page that would have some sort of pixel, pick up that tracking information from that person, just in case I wanted to retarget them with ads. Again, I'm not going too deep when it comes to Facebook advertising. I'm just showing you the avenues that you could have. If you're focusing on businesses, so B2B, then I would also think about Google advertising as well. So Google PPC. So that's a great way to do it as well. So I've spoken about all these different ways in which you can actually go from start to finish when it comes to your business, because the next part is about maintenance. Your business plan that I spoke about before should have a marketing bit, and you should have a business rhythm. So for example, this could be your business rhythm. Number one, you could start off with making sure that you publish videos every single week at a minimum. Number two, you can break up those videos and actually throw them out onto your social media channel so that it creates that attraction. You can create quotes, you can create pictures, you can create everything else. Number three, you could also make sure that you have set ads that run, let's say, Monday to Friday, every single day, let's say at a budget of £5 a day or £10 a day, depending on what your budget is, and leave that running. And that would lead to your landing page and your offer, and eventually some sort of booking call or strategy, okay? So you'd leave that ad running. How would you know how much to spend? You'd have to test it out at the beginning to see how much it is for your leads to be converted, okay? So let's say, for example, if you're spending £5 every single day, you know over a month that's going to be roughly £200. So you got a budget of £200. If you're spending £10, that's roughly going to be double that, £400. Obviously, it's give or take depending on how the ad works. But the point being made is you can plan that ahead. if you have that money in hand. In addition to that, you could also do a quarterly, monthly, or bi-monthly event, local event, where you can actually invite people within your industry, okay, using your advertising to attract them, to actually come to these events, learn from you, and again, get bookings. So that's the sort of system you can use. That's how you manage and maintain your business. If you're thinking bigger and broader, you can also do expos that will really get your brand awareness out there. I recently did one in, I think it was just before my birthday in February. It was amazing, and it was a great way to validate my business. So that is the way you can actually start your business and actually go from zero to hero and actually manage it in a way where you can continue. What I will say from a mindset point of view is to not get disheartened, because what ends up happening is that you continuously do stuff and then you're like, oh my gosh, it's not working. You can't go on that way. What you need to do is to make sure that you actually monitor your sort of like data, okay? So the best way to do this is to use things like Google Analytics, Facebook Pixels. All of these different things will tell you how much traffic is coming to your website, what sort of people are coming to your website, who is converting for specific offers, because then it will tell you what you need to go or do going forward. So don't get disheartened. Just make sure that you do things strategically, follow the plan, follow the strategy, and have things in place. And the last things I'll say before I take any questions is to make sure that you just don't give up. Don't ever give up. If it's not working for you, think about how it's not working for you and speak to other people who can help you. Because what has helped me is leveraging other people. I have an accountability buddy that helps me every single sort of like week or 2 weeks to position myself, to understand what I need to do. And we track everything in a table, and I help them. I also have a mastermind group. Big up to the mastermind group, man. I meet with them every single month. We're actually going on a retreat in August in order to learn more from each other and basically develop our skills. I also have a mentor who helps me understand what I need to do going forward. And I also have really strong friends who essentially act as some sort of advisors to help me think about what I need to do. And I also have my partner, my sister, and all those different people who are really, really good. And my mother as well. She's been fantastic in giving me that sort of advice. So don't give up. Just make sure that you focus on the task at hand and what you need to do going forward when it comes to your business. So that's it. That's basically everything in the business of starting your business and what you need to know if you're a coach, consultant, or some sort of expert who wants to get their stuff out there. And I'll leave it for any questions if you've got any questions. So if you heard some like random noise, it's because I've got the fan on, and in the UK right now, it's fantastic. Okay, I don't think we have any questions at the moment, so that's good. This video will be up for you to check out again, so you can ask more questions in the comment section below. Please make sure that you subscribe so you can learn more stuff. I've got lots of resources on my actual YouTube channel and on my website as well, where you can actually read in depth as to what you do. I don't really hold back. I like to just give it away. So again, thank you very much for joining me today. Share this video with anyone who you feel like actually needs it. And yeah, understand, reach, expand, and God bless. Take care.